Chapter 8. I stood in front of the dirty flamingo. The cracked building facade was just the beginning of the possible horrors that lie within. Roy told me to meet him here. I'm doubting his judgment. I glanced at my phone to see Caleb's number flash across the screen. I pressed ignore for the third time since the other night. I didn't trust myself to talk to him, even though I'd promised I would. The $1 million wager simmered through, calling to me. I shook my head. I could easily slip into the role of Caleb's girlfriend. It would be easy. Too easy. And too easy for things to go horribly wrong. Would Caleb let me out of the relationship if it went sour before the year was up? What if it was great, and I wanted to keep the relationship going, but he didn't? I couldn't ask him to stay because the relationship was only based on a wager. What the hell am I thinking? I can't accept Caleb's wager either way. And what kind of gambler thinks of the loss and not the win? The $1 million win.
Hey, short stuff.
Roy called from the door.
Are you coming inside or what? I've got 2 seats saved at the donkey table.
I followed him into the smoky building. We wove around a bar wrapped in shag carpeting, surrounded by an island of slot machines. They had to be from the 70s. Not one new item graced the dirty flamingo. Why are we here? Is it safe? I asked, keeping only a half-step distance between us.
They have the best hold'em tables and the action is hot at the donkey table. You'll see.
If it's so hot, why didn't you tell me about it sooner?
You were happy at Lost City. I didn't have to worry about you there.
He waved at a man in a threadbare Hawaiian shirt. A black flamingo emblem was peeling off the front. The man gave a nod and pointed to a table at the far end.
Our table is ready. He's a genius when it comes to setting up a proper table.
How does he know the player's style?
There are a lot of regulars, but this guy has a 6th sense.
Roy stated in near awe.
He can predict day to day what a player's stack will be.
Why is he so amicable and giving you the donkey table to prey on?
He owes me. And it's not praying if the players are too stupid to know when to lay down.
A smile slid into place as we approached the table and took our seats. Roy was 2 spots away. I, unfortunately, was wedged between 2 large burly men who crowded my space with tank tops and exposed armpits. If the action wasn't free-flowing, I was out of there. No money was worth this torture. The men surrounding the table broke into wide grins as I was dealt in. I held back a smirk. If they think I'm the donkey of the table, they have a surprise coming. Donkeys can be easy pickings. They play emotionally and can't throw down a good hand when it's clear someone has a better one. It's easy to get sucked into their playing style and lose money. I just have to remember to play by my rules and keep my wits. However, I can help them stumble. I winked at the player with the largest wolfish grin. His eyes widened. Roy grimaced. He might not be a fan of my tactics, but we'll see who walks out with the heaviest pockets. Why do I only have 2 cards? I mumbled audibly as I gathered the cards from the table and held them, exposing the hand to prying eyes behind me. Roy shot a warning look. My lips tilted into a smile that made Roy rub his chest as heartburn crept in.
That table was hot,
Roy said with a full-tooth grin as he cashed in his chips.
I've never seen such action.
The thick bundle of cash in my pocket had me grinning ear to ear. I've never seen players toss chips at each other. Not only did they play like donkeys, they were so on tilt they couldn't see the cards in front of them.
You started it. They thought you were going to be easy pickings. I wouldn't attempt it again. If the players found out, you wouldn't be able to come back here without an altercation.
I won't. That was a one-time show. And now I have enough to pay rent for 2 months. That was an awesome haul. After Roy collected his money, we walked to the parking lot.
We should leave while we're still able. A few of those men looked ready to skin us alive when we took our chips and walked.
They should think before they put their money on the table. Roy's eyes flicked over.
Get in the car.
I turned to find the 2 large men I was crammed between coming at us. One cracked his knuckles while the other pulled brass knuckles from his pocket and slipped them around his fingers. Holy! Words were lost as Roy and I scrambled to his car. We jumped in and slammed the doors as one of the men closed in. With brass knuckles, he bashed Roy's window, shattering it. "Go!" I screamed over the breaking glass as Roy revved the engine. Thick, burly hands reached in for Roy. I screamed again as a man shattered my window, pelting glass. He reached in to unlock the door and drag me out. Roy floored it. We flew out of the furious men's clutches. I grasped my chest. I thought we were goners. I can't believe they were attacking an innocent woman. Roy frowned.
They just found out you played them like a fiddle. I doubt they consider you an innocent woman.
They shouldn't play if they're not prepared to lose.
Yes, but you poked their weakness.
You always tell me to get inside a player's head. I have to play the player, not the cards. A deep chuckle rippled through as he flicked glass from his lap.
Stop listening to me, it's bad for our health.
He smoothed back his few ruffled hairs. Do you think it's safe to go back for my moped?
We'll circle the block and see. So much for my winnings. By the time I pay to replace the windows, I'll only have a few bucks left.
I'll help pay for the windows. If it wasn't for me, we'd still be at the table slowly bleeding them dry.
I have a feeling this would be the outcome either way. I've never seen a full table on tilt. This is one for the memoirs.
Do you think we'll be able to step foot into the Dirty Flamingo ever again?
We'll have to wait a few months before their ruffled feathers are smoothed.
What if we play horribly and give their money back? Roy's eyes slid to me.
Do you give a treat to a misbehaving kid? No, we'll wait this out. Next time they play us, they'll play cautiously.
So they should thank us for this learning experience. Roy barked with laughter.
Did you thank anyone for all the times you've been spanked at the table? Remember when I first met you? You barely limped away from the worst play of your life.
How would I know he had the nuts? I had a straight flush. There was nothing on the table to indicate he had anything better.
You wagered everything on that hand. In fact, you wagered more than you had. They were going to keep you there until you paid.
Yeah, I remember. I grimaced. It was a seedy dive that no novice player right off the bus from Colorado should have stepped into. I had thought I'd make my mark and quick cash. Instead, I lost everything and nearly had to pay what I owed in fleshy pleasures. Roy showed up at the tail end and saw what happened. He paid the difference and chauffeured me to the rat hole motel I grudgingly rented until I could afford an apartment. I thought for sure he'd demand something from me. Pleasures. Payment with interest. He didn't. Instead, he showed me the ropes and let me pay him back gradually. He even fronted me cash and introduced me to the Lost City Casino. A reasonably safe casino and my home away from home ever since. Until recently. Roy circled around to the parking lot. Is that my moped? I asked.
Not anymore.
We gave the twisted, broken moped a last farewell glance as Roy pulled away. Lenny's brows furrowed.
Why am I the ogre?
I glanced at him, wondering if he really wanted an answer.
We're all depicted as something we don't want to be.
Frankie winced at the photo.
Nadia got off easy.
Lenny muttered. I'd rather not be clinging to Charming's leg, I said.
But that's a woman's natural position.
My eyes targeted him. I had so much to say to that comment, but I only asked, then why isn't a woman clinging to your leg?
I'm saying it's a woman's job to worship a man and to get on her knees every once in a while and show some gratitude.
I flexed my fingers instead of curling them into the fist I wanted. Why waste the energy? Lenny would never learn, and I needed to work on my anger management. My boiling point lurked just beneath the surface. Frankie's eyes slid between the two of us.
Lenny, you'll never learn.
He said, mirroring my thoughts.
And Nadia, you can't say you've never been on your knees.
His hand flew up to stop me from protesting.
We're missing the point. This horrific billboard isn't going up. We're going to win using whatever method we can.
I was momentarily distracted from Lenny as my Frankie alarm sounded. What do you mean, whatever method? I asked.
I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win this competition.
Lenny rubbed his hands together with a grin.
Now you're talking.
I don't want to wear the wench costume. The few circuits Charming has left nearly short-circuited. And nothing illegal either, I added. Frankie sighed.
I'm not asking you to hold couples at gunpoint. I'm just saying it's time to unleash the big guns. Totally different guns.
What big guns did you have in mind? I asked. Frankie pointed to his head.
This big gun.
Lenny stopped rubbing his hands.
Are we using guns or not? I have a great squirt gun that looks like a sawed-off shotgun.
Frankie meant his brain. Lenny's hamster wheels creaked and groaned as he thought. Can we get on with this? I asked, reining in my slipping temper.
Yes, and I've called in backup.
Who did you coerce this time? I asked. Or did you have to blackmail them? Frankie tisked.
Next time I see Mr. Grayson Fineass in Armani Miller, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. He's got you so strung out you're like a grizzly bear that awoke cold and hungry in February. I don't think I'm going to let you come on vacation. Maya and I can have fun by ourselves.
You have to take me since it's my vacation money.
We could accidentally leave without you.
He put his finger to his lips and thought.
We could wrap you in a bow and leave you at Grayson's door. Let him deal with you for a while.
Goosebumps rippled up my arms and neck, leaving a chilling tingle. I narrowed my eyes, gauging Frankie. I wouldn't put it past him or his sidekick, Maya.
By the way, a foreign guy was looking for you.
Why am I stuck with you again?
Lenny asked as he pulled the bus near the bureau. The vibrations from the ear-splitting sound system shook the bus with each bass beat. The question is, why am I stuck with you?
Just fill this bus. I'll have to do a roundup in the tourist spot soon.
Frankie had positioned 4 teams in the busiest tourist areas. Lenny and I were sent to the bureau to shuttle between the groups for pickups. I hopped off the bus to search for couples. I spotted a couple exiting the building. Perfect. Are you in need of a chapel? I asked, nearing them.
We've already picked one out.
The man said. That's wonderful, I said, plastering a smile. Which one did you choose?
The Fairy Tale Chapel.
The woman gushed. That's wonderful, I repeated with the same plastered smile. I stepped aside to let them walk by. Lenny rushed over.
This way to Fairy Tale Chapel,
he said, herding them onto the bus. He popped up next to me a moment later.
You almost let them get away.
They plan to go to another chapel. I can't ruin their wedding. He shoved his thick finger in my face.
I refuse to be an ogre. This is war. Steal Charming's clients or...
He sputtered like a water-doused fire. Or? I asked dryly. His red face puckered as he thought. His wagging finger stilled as his eyes bulged. Are you having a heart attack? I asked, with an ounce of concern. Maybe only half an ounce. It's hard to conjure sympathy for Lenny. He pointed to a spot behind me. I turned to find Muffin dragging a petite man toward the bureau entrance. Her tall, bulky frame loomed over the man. There was no doubt he was overpowered by her size and strength. I sighed. With her determination, I doubt there would be anything I could say to make her release him. But, by the way the man's eyes darted, searching for an escape, I had to attempt to reason with her. I hoped it didn't bite me in the ass. Muffin, I called. She twisted around, swinging the man.
No time to talk, Natalie. I have to get married before midnight.
I jogged over. It's Nadia. Is this about money? She eyed me under her heavy brows.
You know the drill.
I do. Perhaps your grandfather's will can wait another week. Frankie needs help and is willing to pay. She thought for a moment before shaking her head.
I think I'll stick to marrying this guy.
The speck of hope in the man's eye turned into a tear. Now I know what men feel like when women cry. It's uncomfortable. There's no need to marry him tonight. He can wait a week. The man stared at me as if he wasn't sure if he wanted to punch me or hug me.
You're wasting time.
Lenny hollered, keeping a safe distance from Muffin.
Get them on the bus.
Why's Lenny's nose all out of joint?
You remember Lenny's name but not mine? Do you know I still have a giant hole in my kitchen wall? I gritted.
You should get a husband. Then you won't have to worry about holes in your wall, Nikki.
It's Nadia. I don't see how having a husband will spare me from holes in my wall.
That's their job, to oversee a woman's comfort.
I don't think that knowledge has spread through the male population.
It will when I'm through.
I eyed the imprisoned man, wished him well, and turned to leave.
Neptune, wait. You didn't tell me what the fuss was about. Why does Frankie need help?
It's Nadia, and we are in the midst of an unhealthy competition with Fairy Tale Chapel.
What are the stakes?
Whoever marries the most, couples wins. The winner gets a billboard to slam the loser.
What's in it for me?
She asked. A legal occupation for the duration of the competition? Her lips puckered in thought. It wasn't enough. And free wedding ceremonies for life, I added. May God rest my soul. The man wilted with relief when he saw Muffin's toothy grin.
It's a deal,
she said, releasing the man who turned and fled as though he was racing a charging bull. I was impressed with the way his knees lifted to his chin.
Tell me what you need me to do.
Round up as many couples as you can. The Fairy Tale Chapel already has a lead, and they aren't afraid to steal our couples.
Is that why I've been seeing princesses around town?
They brought out the princesses?
Lenny overheard with a gulp.
Oh, this is bad.
My brow arched. It just means they have extra helpers, but we have Muffin. With her size and hooded eyes, no one would say no. Lenny didn't look convinced.
You don't know what the princesses are capable of.
Do they sing songs and attract fuzzy woodland creatures? I asked. I'm not sure that will help find couples. A tinkling laugh filled the air. I looked over to find a woman in a ball gown. Red rouge dotted her cheeks, and her golden hair was swept up to a sparkling tiara. Lenny flinched. She looks harmless, I said as Lenny stepped back. Muffin glanced at the woman.
She's rather small. Maybe she's the runt of the litter.
Then you don't know women. The smaller they are, the more volatile,
Lenny said. My eyes slid from the princess to Muffin. I don't know how you came up with that theory. Muffin could take her any day. Muffin nodded.
I can't argue with that,
She agreed, cracking her knuckles.
Just steer clear of all princesses. The less friction, the better.
Lenny said, keeping the princess in his sight as he moved toward the bus. Let's go make rounds, I suggested. There's no one here now.
So how will Frankie pay me? Per couple?
Lenny gets a commission. I'm sure he'll give you the same deal. Perhaps we should split up so you don't have to share commissions on the same couples.
Good idea,
She said, heading to her vehicle.
Keep your phone on. I'll call with pickup details.
Do you have my number? I asked.
It's programmed into my phone.
I paused. You have my phone number, but you can't remember my name.
No need to start grunting like a rooting piglet. Your name is programmed in with the phone number. See, right here. Nancy.
Nadia.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Where in the world did you find so many couples?
Frankie asked, collapsing into the chapel couch. You'll have to thank Muffin. She found them and Lenny heisted them, I said, glancing at the clock. It was 5:30 in the morning, breaking all previous late-night records. I'm exhausted. I'll see you tomorrow,
I'll walk with you.
he said, attempting to roll off the couch.
Help me up, my feet are dead.
I tugged his arm, but his dead weight didn't budge.
Forget it, I'll sleep here.
He said, tipping over.
Just tell me where Muffin found the couples.
You don't want to know. You'll have nightmares, I said.
Then tell me tomorrow.
He yawned.
Can you put my legs on the couch? I can't seem to move them.
I took pity on Frankie, who looked like a child that had a very long day with no nap. I lifted his feet to the couch and slipped off his shoes. Before I could even say goodnight, he was in a deep sleep. I trudged up the 2 flights to my apartment. I didn't bother turning on my lights or saying hello to Gus. Stripping off my clothes as I made my way to the bedroom, I slipped into bed with a sigh and snuggled in, ready to drift into blissful slumber. Something stirred on the bed. "Good night, Gus," I said, reaching to give him a head pat. My hand came into contact with warm skin. I froze. Before I could register shock and an escape route, an arm reached around my waist, dragging me to the source.
"Good night, Nadia."
A rich voice sleepily murmured. It was Caleb. I knew he fell back asleep instantly. His warm, tickling breath was deep and steady. Since I was in his warm embrace and to the point of passing out from exhaustion, I relaxed against him, allowing my dreams to take me where they would.